Hello everyone, and welcome to this video for parents and carers. This video has been created by the online safety charity ChildNet in partnership with the Safeguarding Board for Northern Ireland and is designed to tell you everything you need to know about a key online safety issue. Today, we are talking about online pornography, a type of adult and sexualized content. As of summer 2025, there are new requirements under the Online Safety Act for some services to restrict adult or harmful content, including pornography, so users have to prove or verify their age to gain access. These rules are intended to protect children from stumbling across this kind of content. Whilst many platforms have made effective changes under the new laws, some adult content and pornography is still accessible. The Online Safety Act will make a difference in helping make the internet safer for children, but it has not changed our advice for you and the things you can do to support your child at home. This video will cover what online pornography is, when and why a young person might access online pornography, the impact this can have on young people, and how you can support your child with this issue. To start us off, we're going to think a little bit more about what online pornography is. Online pornography is adult content that is intended specifically for over 18-year-olds, and it shows explicit sexual content of consenting adults, often actors and actresses, engaging in sexual behaviour. Online pornography should only show consenting adults, and while sexualized content showing under 18-year-olds and sexualized non-consensual content of adults also exists, these would not be considered pornography as they do not show consenting adults. These may be called child sexual abuse material and non-consensual intimate image abuse, respectively. While child sexual abuse material and non-consensual intimate image abuse are both illegal, most pornography is legal. There are some exceptions to this, such as pornography that involves animals and extreme violence, which is sometimes referred to as extreme pornography. This video will focus on online pornography, but if you do want to know more about nude image sharing amongst young people or online sexual harassment, including non-consensual intimate image abuse, we have created separate videos that cover these topics. It is possible that young people will encounter sexual images both online and offline, but we do know the internet and technology has made access to such content easier for young people and that it can allow access to a wider range of pornographic content. Access could be through different platforms such as social media, pop-ups and adverts, messaging apps, websites, or search engines. The age a young person will first see pornography online could depend on a number of factors, including what settings are in place on the devices they use, how much time they spend online, how they spend that time, their friendships, and their curiosity. However, research published by the Children's Commissioner for England in 2023 found that the average age at which children first see pornography is 13, with 27% of children having seen pornography by age 11. Of course, it is difficult to know for sure how accurate these figures might be, as they rely on a young person understanding what they have seen and feeling comfortable and willing to report that. So why might a young person access pornography? Well, there are a range of reasons this could happen, and sometimes these may also overlap. For many young people, their first experience of pornography may be accidental, with the content appearing when they didn't expect it, perhaps whilst browsing on social media or in an advert on a website. It could also be sent to them as a link, for example, by a friend or online contact, and they do not know what they will see until they have clicked on it. Alternatively, a young person may have an awareness of pornography before they see it, perhaps because they have heard about it from their peers and subsequently seek it out. This might be because they are curious, because they have heard it can be enjoyable to watch, because they think it's a normal or expected thing to do, or because they think it will be funny. Just as there are many ways a young person could end up seeing pornography, there are also many things they may think or feel when they first see it, including embarrassment, awkwardness, pleasure, arousal, fear, shame, or confusion. How a young person is impacted by pornography can also vary depending on a range of factors. This could include whether the child understands what they are seeing, or if they received adequate information or education about sex and relationships in the past. It can also be that the type of pornography a young person is exposed to can determine the impact it has on them, or the support that they have available to them to talk about this. To help us consider these potential impacts a bit more, let's consider what this might look like for young people using some examples. B started watching online pornography when a friend told them about it. They started to notice that all the people who were in it were very attractive. B started to compare what their body was like to the people in the pornography they were watching. This affected their self-esteem, and they started to take part in some unhealthy behaviors to try and become slimmer. Kay was sent online pornography by a friend in a group chat. They had learned about pornography in a lesson at school, but had never looked for this sort of thing themselves. Their friends seemed to find it funny to share with each other. Kay decided to leave the group chat as they knew it wasn't something they enjoyed looking at. D first saw online pornography by accident when scrolling on social media. They enjoyed seeing it, so they looked for more. Over time, D found themselves spending more and more time watching pornography. Watching it didn't make them feel good anymore, but they felt they couldn't stop. L saw online pornography by accident when it appeared as a pop-up. They didn't really understand what it was, but it made them feel uncomfortable, so they closed the pop-up. What they saw was playing on their mind, so they talked to their mum about it, who explained what it was. T occasionally watched pornography, and they sometimes saw videos that were violent to the women involved. When T started to take part in sexual activity themselves, they assumed their partner would want to do the same. M had been wanting to know more about sex, so decided to look at some online pornography. They thought they would find some answers from what they had seen, but it made them feel nervous about what they might be asked to do. G uses social media a lot and has started seeing more content that seemed sexual in nature. Lots of the content creators had other accounts on a different website where they posted pornographic material. All of these examples are based on real life experiences and can help us spot some of the key risks for young people seeing pornography, such as the impact of prolonged or repeat exposure, not recognizing that pornography is a dramatization and that it is unrealistic, the impact on a young person's body image or self esteem, the potential impacts on their future relationships, and expectations about healthy and unhealthy behaviors, and the potential development of addictive behaviors or a compulsion to view more or increasingly extreme content. Due to the nature of pornography, it's often unrealistic and may not set a good example in relation to safe sex or consent. However, of particular concern is the inclusion of violence against women and girls and misogyny, both of which are frequently shown in online pornography. This may include physical violence, demeaning or degrading language and sexual acts, objectification of women, or the implication that women do not have value outside of their participation in sexual acts. Of course, pornography is not the only place where young people may be exposed to these attitudes, which can also be found online in video content, on social media, in games from other players and in the content of some games, and offline in other media or from their peers and other people in their lives. If you hear your child expressing misogynistic attitudes, it's important to question these and unpick the messages they may be hearing elsewhere. On these occasions, it's important to remain calm, reassuring, and non-judgmental, making sure that it's the behaviors or opinions you identify as being problematic and not the child themselves. You might want to ask questions about where these opinions have come from and what your child thinks they mean. Encourage your child to be open and honest about their experiences, and if they do tell you about content they have seen that is promoting these views, remind them that not everything online is factually correct, and share your own views on this topic to help counter what they have heard elsewhere. Always remember it's okay not to have all the answers in these situations or to feel like you'd benefit from further support. For example, you may want to speak to your child's school or specialist organisations like the Act Early support line. Talking to your child about online pornography, the impact it can have, and how to get support is an important part of keeping them safe when using the internet and technology. It's totally normal to feel unsure or anxious about starting conversations at home about online pornography. However, talking to your family about this is an important way to offer support and guidance, and it doesn't have to be complicated or a big deal. Whilst children are younger, you may want to remind them about private parts of the body, which you may have talked about to them before, or that they may have had lessons on at school. Remind them that these parts of the body shouldn't be shown to other people, including online. It's also a good idea to try and introduce them to the correct terms for genitalia, such as penis and vulva. This means that your child will have the language to explain to you what they have seen if they were to stumble across adult content, such as pornography online. There are plenty of age-appropriate resources to help you with this, such as the PANTS rule from the NSPCC. You should also remind your child that they can always come to you if they see something that makes them worried, upset, uncomfortable, or confused, and that you will help to support them with this. For younger children, we would always recommend supervising their use of technology and the internet wherever possible. You can also make use of parental settings and controls, which can help to prevent them accessing pornographic material. If you would like to find out more about these, you can do so by watching our separate video on this topic. If you are using parental controls at home, you may find it helpful to explain to your child why you have put these settings in place and to ensure they know they can come to you if the controls are preventing them accessing something. This doesn't mean you have to grant them access to everything they want online, but does show willing and means they're less likely to go behind your back or try to get past the controls on their own if they know you're open to discussing them. That conversation also gives the opportunity to find out more about what they're using family devices for, or to answer any questions. For example, if they've heard a word at school and then searched for it online, and your parental controls have blocked potentially adult material, this gives you the opportunity to address what that word means, rather than leaving them curious and likely to seek out answers elsewhere. As your child gets older, you may also want to talk to them specifically about online pornography. It's good to acknowledge that it exists, but that it's created for adults. In these conversations, try to be open and reassure them that they can speak to you if they have questions. It may feel simplest to dismiss pornography as something unpleasant or even unethical, but it's important to remember that this could shut down future conversations where you otherwise have the opportunity to support your child, or even lead to them feeling ashamed or guilty when their curiosity or initial experiences of sexual attraction are likely totally natural. Instead, explain to them that it's natural to feel attracted to people, to be curious about sex, and even to find sexual images exciting. But be upfront that pornography is created to entertain adults and that it is not usually a realistic depiction of healthy sexual relationships. This could also be a time to talk about how pornography can show a particular view of sexuality, that the people they see in pornography are likely to look a certain way, and how healthy sexual relationships involve respect, communication, mutual pleasure, and consent, which aren't always shown in pornography. It's also important to remind them they do not have to look at or watch pornography if they don't want to, and no one should ever force them to. Talking about sex and pornography can be uncomfortable, but it is better to tackle these topics head on and provide clarity for your child for them to learn about these issues from other, less reliable sources, or to see pornography before they have an understanding of what it is and what it shows. If you do become aware your child has accessed pornography, particularly at a young age, you may initially feel worried, upset, or even angry. This is totally normal, but it's important to put your emotions to one side and prioritize the needs of your child. You'll need to talk to your child about what they've seen, but try to remain calm, reassuring, non-judgmental, and matter of fact. Starting a conversation when you're not ready or responding in a more negative way might prevent your child from opening up or talking to you again in the future. It's okay to take some time to prepare yourself for the conversation and to even jot down some notes of the key things you want to cover. You could talk with a partner or friend and even role play what might happen if you'd find this helpful. When you feel ready, try to approach the conversation with an open mind and be curious, not furious about what has happened. Choose a time and space with minimal distractions and remember that conversations side by side can feel less confrontational than head on. You may want to start by asking how they came to access online pornography, as this will shape your response and what needs to happen next. Start with an open question like, "Can you tell me about what you saw on the tablet earlier?" and give them time to respond. You could also do a feelings check-in, modeling with your own thoughts. Something like, "When I found out you'd seen pornography, I felt worried because I know not everybody likes to see that. How did you feel about it?" If they are upset, then you can give your support, or if they are confused or interested about what they have seen, you can give space for them to ask questions. During these conversations, try to help them understand that pornography is not an accurate depiction of normal sexual relationships, that the people in the video are performing, and that the video is created in order to make money. After you have discussed this, you may be able to use what you have learned to help prevent them from accessing pornography in the future. This could be adjusting the settings or controls you have at home, or showing them reliable, age-appropriate resources where they can find out more about sex and puberty. For older teenagers, or a young person who you suspect might be accessing pornography regularly, you may wish to discuss when and how viewing pornography may become unhealthy. For example, if they are watching it excessively, feel a compulsion to watch it, or are worried about the nature of the pornography they are drawn to, including extreme or illegal images. Make sure they know that you are there to support them, and you could even provide the telephone numbers for helplines if you think they're more likely to communicate about these concerns with someone they don't know. Keep an eye out for changes in behaviour, which may be a sign to speak to them directly again, or to seek out further support, such as from a specialist organisation. Remember that whatever your approach to these conversations is, your child is likely to find it just as, if not more, uncomfortable than you. If your child isn't ready to talk to you about what's happened just yet, or if they become upset or anxious, let them know a time when you'll be coming back to this and remind them that you want to discuss it to support them, not because they are in trouble. We do know that some children may not want to talk to their parents or carers about online pornography because they're concerned about their reaction. So let them know that you will not be angry, laugh, or judge them so they can be prepared for how you will react. We know that as a parent, it can be concerning or worrying that your child may access online pornography, and you may be concerned about how it might impact their emotions, their self-esteem, and their future behaviors or relationships. However, not all young people will access online pornography, and for those who do, many will be uninterested in it. There are things you can do to help any child understand what pornography is, why it's intended for adults, and where they can get further help if they need it. Talking about pornography can feel embarrassing, upsetting, or awkward, but the best way to support your child is to be open and matter of fact with them. Sex is a natural part of growing up. You can also make a difference by talking to your child from an early age about their online experiences and encouraging safe and responsible use of technology that is age appropriate. The more you talk about your child's life online, the more likely it is you'll be able to spot if they are accessing pornographic content or if their views are being changed by misogynistic content. Finally, please also remember that you are not alone and help is available. You can speak to your child's school or college, find further advice on the SBNI and ChildNet websites, or contact a parenting or child safeguarding helpline, such as those shown on the screen.